Hello everyone. 2 days ago I set up a fundraiser to support musicians, touring, gigging musicians who have lost their livelihoods through this COVID-19 crisis. They fall through the cracks largely of any government help that has been given. There is an organisation called Help Musicians UK that is doing something for them, but they have lost their livelihoods. All their gigs have been cancelled. Summer festivals have been cancelled. And it looks unlikely that gatherings such as concerts will be able to resume for quite a long time. So they're facing possibly a year, maybe even more, but certainly several months of uncertainty and lost income, lost livelihoods, and more than that, the loss of their way of life. So I wanted to do something to help, and I can only do a tiny amount. At the moment, I'm trying to raise £1,000, and out of that, I want to pay £100 to each of the 10 artists whose gigs I had to cancel at the Treehouse Bookshop. It wasn't 10 gigs, some of them were duos and so on. So it's 7 gigs, I think, involving 10 musicians. And I'd like to pay them £100 each, which is nothing, I know, but it's a start and it's something. And the more I raise, the more I can give. When I've given £100 to those 10 musicians, there are other musicians who I know are in need, who I will then carry on doing. And what's happening is that as I reach £50, um, I will be sending that to artists. We've now got enough to pay 3 artists the first £50. But it would be great to get this going, get some momentum going. Um, there's all sorts of reasons why I'm doing this, but the main thing is that I think music and the arts are something that we all desperately need. And maybe this time of lockdown has really shown us how important those things are. I know a lot of people for whom listening to music is definitely something that is helping them through quite a difficult time. And that's true of our lives generally, I think. Music is such a fantastic way of connecting with all sorts of aspects of the world. The universe sounds awful, but it doesn't sound awful, but it sounds far-fetched in a way. But music brings us together. It's a universal language, even music with lyrics that we don't understand. It's a way of uniting people. It's a way of connecting with our inner selves. It's a way of connecting with the world and what's going on around us in broad ways as well as specific ways. And I think music has always, and the arts generally, it is very much about the arts as a whole, but music is just one area that I'm involved in. We have live gigs at the bookshop once or twice a month. Yesterday I read the letter that letter had been sent to the government of the UK, an open letter signed by many figures from the arts saying that if there was no investment in terms of supporting the creative industries at this time, the UK would become a creative wasteland, essentially cultural wasteland. And when you think about the incredible cultural heritage of the United Kingdom, um, and the strengths that are still so much a part of our society, um, we're feeling, people are complaining about EastEnders not being made, that sort of thing. That's just the kind of the broad tip in that's a hugely popular program that reaches millions and millions of people, but that filters right down to the local club scenes and small museums, theatres, um, and all sorts of self-employed and freelance people in the arts who have lost their chance to make a living, and more than that, to bring us the things that we do look to and enjoy. And that's why, that's why we pay for them. That's why we love them. That's why we make celebrities out of some of them. The letter was signed by people across the arts. I've got a brief list here: Anish Kapoor, Rufus Wainwright, Jonathan Pryce, PJ Harvey, Simon Callow, Johnny Marr, Nick Cave, my beloved Nick Cave, which is how I think it came to my attention. And I think it's 400 people have signed this letter from across the arts. And it's a time that we really need to think about how we're going to support the arts. There's inevitably all the focus at the moment is on the NHS, and I understand that completely. But there are other people too who are vital to society who are not getting any help. So that's just background, really. I think if you want the arts to survive at kind of grassroots level, and if you want music, live music, to survive outside stadiums beyond this crisis, if music is something that is sustaining you through this period, if live gigs are something that you're missing, then maybe you would consider giving £5 to this fundraiser. It's through an organisation called Coffee, KO-FI. So it's the equivalent of buying, well, I've set it to buy 2 cups of coffee for a musician. I think they deserve 2 cups of coffee. It's not real coffee, of course. But it's the equivalent of buying them a coffee. And if lots of people do that, is that just that cumulative thing? We could raise quite a bit of money. My initial target, as I say, is £1,000, and I think we've raised 160 in the first 2 days. So let's get that to 1,000. That would be amazing. There are other things you can support, of course, but if you're watching this and feel able to give just £5, that would be fantastic. You can buy as many cups of coffee as you like. In other words, you can give as much as you like in £5 increments, but if you can just give £5, that would be amazing. And if you can't, and I know there are people out there who can't, then please keep sharing the link, not this video particularly, but the link to the coffee fundraiser that I've called Music Matters, and that's the hashtag Music Matters that I use on social media, because I think music does matter. Music is just one part, as this letter says. It's all of the arts that are suffering. And we want to, just as the government has invested in other businesses, so that when lockdown is over, we can not hit the ground running exactly, but they see it as an investment so that when we are allowed to reopen, we will be in a position to do that. So it's the same with the arts. If we want the arts to carry on, we have to support those who are making and creating it right now. So that they can carry on being these creative beings, so crucial to our society. It's not some nice little hobby. It's not some elitist thing. It's not some add-on luxury that just makes life a little bit better. I think creativity is fundamental to being human, and art is fundamental to human society. If you want to watch something, go and watch Werner Herzog's wonderful film called Cave of Forgotten Dreams, about those glorious cave paintings in the Ardèche. I forget what the name of the caves are. It's not Lascaux. It's it'll come back to me. But anyway, Cave of Forgotten Dreams, Werner Herzog. These paintings were made 30,000 years ago, on the cusp of Neanderthal man, or Neanderthals becoming Homo sapiens. And he explores them and talks about art as something fundamental to society in a very beautiful way. Go and watch that, and listen to some music. Go and buy people's records. That's one way you can help. Even something simple and free, like supporting their YouTube channel. Subscribe to a YouTube channel. If a musician can get 1,000 subscribers, they can do a lot more with their YouTube channels, including monetizing them. So it costs you nothing. It doesn't affect you in the sense that you don't get all the notifications you might get from other things. I think you probably get emails, but when they add something new, but that's quite nice. But it's just a great way of supporting them that's free and easy, and can make a difference. I'll post something else that, or maybe I posted a list yesterday, and there's a lovely sort of graphic of that musician John Wilkes has made to show what you can do. Some of it free, some of it not free, but all of it pretty easy, just to help musicians, but also support this letter that has been sent. Maybe contact your MP to make sure the arts are not forgotten in all of this. We live in a Philistine world in lots of ways, where commercial business is all that really matters. But I think this time of isolation and lockdown has shown us that different things really do matter, and one of those is creativity and the arts. So I'm sorry this is a longer video than I intended it to be. If you're still watching, thank you. um, I'll thank you even more if you can just give £5 to the fundraiser or some other fundraiser. Just make sure that the money is getting to musicians. I'll sign off now. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and yeah, let's make sure that people realise that music matters, and money is forthcoming for people who have lost their livelihoods, their income streams for some time to come.